we finished a job today, um, and it brought back something that uh, a talking point that maybe I can't stand. So we had to put in some conduit for an electrician,
Mm.
and which we often have to do. And obviously, the conduit wasn't right. It was the wrong kind of conduit. There was too much friction, so we had to dig it up a bunch in a bunch of spots so he could push his fucking wire through. But I every time I do this, I tell myself, well, why isn't the fucking electrician running their own conduit? You're doing all the hard work for them. All they have to do is come in and push the fucking wire through, and they get paid however many hundreds of dollars an hour, right? But essentially, you're doing all the hard work.
Who
Um,
supplied the conduit?
uh, the GC supplied the conduit.
Yeah, so the conduit not being right had fuck all to do with you.
No, but putting in the conduit to begin with also should have fuck all to do with me,
Oh, totally agree.
right? Like
Yeah.
it's regardless of who supplied the conduit or what kind of conduit it is. The fact that I'm putting in a conduit is beyond my realm of expertise as a landscaper when I'm
Since
just there to
you
build shit.
started your own landscaping company, was that 12 years ago?
Yep.
Would you say that, and I think this is probably low, on average, you spend $4,000 a year running other people's conduit that you don't get paid for.
I'd say so.
So,
And that probably doesn't include the cost of the conduit itself, which I
so,
probably didn't get paid for either.
so you had to buy the conduit
Oh,
sometimes.
probably.
All
Oh
right,
yeah.
so let's round
Oh
this
yeah.
bit. Let's round this bitch up to $5,000 a year since. So Chad has invested $60,000 over 12 years running conduit and buying conduit for other people that he never got paid for.
Yeah. I don't think that's a stretch.
I don't
We've
think it
used
is either.
so,
Just five
sometimes we've
thousand
used
dollars is pretty easy to spend.
oh yeah. Sometimes we've used vacuum tube. It's not always necessarily a 2 inch PVC conduit. We've used Big O. Um, there's more than one way to skin the cat when it comes to running a conduit.
Okay.
Um,
We I know we used to have like a thing of irrigation line we dragged everywhere.
yeah, that'd
Like,
do it.
and then we're like, okay, you need to run some wire through this. It better fit in this fucking line, bro. Because this is all I got.
Yeah, I my response, like I always want to tell them, no, I don't need to run any wires. I don't need to run any fucking conduit. The electrician needs to run their conduit. Where's the electrician? Get them here. Like it.
But when we were working at the place with all the pools that shall never be named,
I
the
bet there's a
G
lot of conduit there
well the GC didn't allow for any trenching for conduit. There
on the
was
whole
like
job. Wow.
300 kilometers of conduit to be buried or something. And we
Wow.
just like spent when I was running that project, I there was like two crews assigned to trenching conduit for weeks. Like I don't, it wasn't like an afternoon time. It was going on forever because no one and the electrician was like, not our fucking problem. And so then they just
But it is
down
their problem because that's
it
completely
wasn't in
their
their
job.
contract, but it wasn't in their contract.
What, to put wire in the ground?
No, the trenching was eliminated from their contract and
Okay.
wasn't in anybody's contract. And so like the first day they go show up to bury the main line and they're like, the electrician shows up, they got their wire, day one, let's fucking fly. Hey, there's no trench here. And they're like, well, dig it. It's not our fucking contract. Oh shit. Who can we get to dig this trench? Oh, you know who's got an excavator here? Fucking oh, they're doing the salmon run on the far end of the job. The fucking landscaper. Oh, get that bitch over here. They'll dig the fucking trench. And then that's how it's. I guess that's how it started. I don't. I just inherited it in the middle of the whole thing, like, and it's completely in the middle of um the whole trenching of this. There was literally no like. no one to do the trenching. So there was like two, sometimes three excavators. You can only fathom how much shit. There was literally like 300 kilometers of 400 kilometers of trenching.
Wow.
I got like, who buried this conduit? I would say I did. Well, you better have taken pictures. Why should I have had to take fucking pictures? I don't give a fuck how buried the conduit is. Like, it's not my job to fucking get an electrical permit. I put this in out of the pure goodness of my heart. You know? I don't give a shit. I'm not the one who's getting fucking sued over not having their electrical buried properly.
Yeah.
Like, why should,
I
what do you mean? You expect me to do this for free and write and document it? Like,
documented.
I think that's a bit much to ask, you
I
know?
have spent a vast amount of my life burying irrigation shit too, under
Yeah.
walkways and
Yeah.
into gardens, and like I have spent so much of my life with fucking I think we've talked about irrigation contractors before on this
Oh yeah.
podcast. Like,
Yeah.
but
I
I
I sent go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I sent the guys out a couple weeks ago to a job in Kingston. They had to cut out the sidewalk to put irrigation lines in and then patch it in with interlock over top. It was an hourly thing, but just like because nobody put the conduit, right? So all of a sudden you're cutting out concrete, two steps
Well,
forward, one step back, or
have you
three
done
steps
commercial
back.
jobs where they want you to run the conduit to the islands in
Oh yeah,
advance? Yeah,
yeah. And it
got to get the
doesn't
conduit into the island
gotta get the
before we
conduit.
do the curb.
They've done
Uh,
that, but they've given us big O as conduit,
oh my god!
not realizing that there's triaxles running over the sub base because it's a
Yeah,
gravel parking lot, right? You
yes,
think your your big O is gonna withstand that sort of shit?
no,
Like,
absolutely
uh,
not.
yeah. So what a nightmare sometimes.
How much stuff do you think you do, residential or commercial, that has nothing to do with you, just to get the job done because you're like, fuck it, I got to get out of here? How many times have you looked at something and been like, this has nothing to do with me, but fuck it, I got to get out of here?
Quite a bit, I'd say. Well, you can't leave that like one of the old guys we used to work with. He would start doing shit completely out of our scope, and his reason would be, well, you can't leave that like that. And so he would start parging someone's fucking house or something like that. He'd go into the back of the truck and mix up a fucking batch of mortar or something. Well, you can't leave that like that. What the fuck? Like,
If
we're
I
here
can't,
to put in a walkway. Well, you can't leave that like that. Yeah.
the
So
explanation of like trying to get paid sometimes is people understanding that do shit we get paid for. Doing shit we don't get paid for will lead you down to a path eventually of you not getting paid. If you spend all your time doing shit that we're never going to get paid for, at some point that will affect you. Like at some point we'll run out of money and there will be no money to pay you because all of your time was spent doing shit that we never got paid, that we can't get paid for. So don't do shit that we can't get paid for. Like stop doing that
so
stuff.
we did a job in the spring this year, and it was to plant a tree and a couple other things like a flower bed in the front or something like that. And we had briefly touched on during my meeting with the client about pulling a stump that was there. Um, and I forgot about it in the estimate. So they asked about it in email, and I said, well, I forgot about it in the estimate, so we'll just do it. We'll just do it while we're there. Like, whatever, it'll take 20 minutes. Um, I won't bill for it or anything like that. Right. So we do the job, but the client decides that they want to leave the stump now. She likes it. She thinks it's pretty. After the job is invoiced, the homeowner goes, well, can you renegotiate the invoice because you didn't pull the tree stump that you said you were going to pull? So now I'm out $200 because I didn't pull out the tree stump that I was going to do for free anyway. And I said, well, how the fuck did I manage to fuck myself there?
I would have told
Like,
those people to bounce.
we've done some work for them before, and they're nice people, but like I talked myself out of $200
What you
just
should have said
because.
was it's $200 to pull the tree stump, and I'll add it to the thing
But
instead of trying to be
here's
a
the
nice
thing,
person.
I was trying to be the nice person by doing it for
Yes.
free from the start,
Yeah. Do you
and
think you got set up by her?
no,
I'm gonna see if he'll
I
do
don't,
this tree
I
stump for free. Oh, he's doing it for free. Now I'm gonna ask for a price reduction because he didn't do it. That's a
I don't,
game. I
I
think he might have
don't,
got
I
gamed.
think that's a game. I don't know if this client would do that. I like them; they're nice. I feel like
Oh,
it
you
was a
gotta watch
learning
out for the
experience.
nice ones.
I feel like this is a learning experience for me. Again, for the 100th time, I tell myself I don't do anything for free anymore. Anything.
Mm.
You always get burned when you do shit for free.
Yeah.
Things always go haywire when you're doing something for free.
For free, for a friend.
For free.
You're lending something out. Um, someone is all one of the guys I used to work with has always told me if you're good at something, you don't do it for free. So that's why I will no longer landscape for free. So
Well, is pulling a stump landscaping?
it's something.
That'd be landscaping.
You think pulling a stump is classified as landscaping?
It's not hardscaping, but I would say it's landscaping.
What do you
It
think? Do you think that under that guise, to me, pulling a stump is tree care.
But
Stump
it's
grinding,
tree.
is
stump
tree
pulling.
planting tree care?
Ooh.
No,
Is
that's
shrub
landscaping.
planting tree care?
No, that's landscaping. Because that's planting a new
Like,
tree.
come on.
That's no, when you're dealing with an existing tree, that is tree care. Dead or alive, you're dealing with an existing tree, that is tree care. Planting a new tree is landscaping.
So you planted a tree last year and you're pruning it as per the spec
That's tree
on the
care.
job description. And that's different than pulling the stump or the same?
Is tree care not landscaping?
No, it's tree care. Do you wear a funny little hard hat all day long?
I do not.
Well, then you're not in tree care. If you're in tree care, you wear a funny little hard hat and you climb up and down fucking trees.
So how do you
Or
go to
how
a
many
client?
times have you operated a stump grinder
Once.
when you were in tree care?
So how do you go to a client and she asks you, can you plant my tree? You say, yes. Can you maintain my tree? No, that's tree care.
I've said, call an arborist. That has nothing to do with me. I'll put the tree in. What if I need it pruned? Call an arborist. I don't do that shit.
Yeah.
They literally have,
You can put it in,
there's
but you can't take it out.
literally a name for the profession, arborist. Like there's a name for the like you don't even need to make it. I'm not making this up. There's people who are arborists for a living. There's people who wake up in the morning and they're like, "Man, I can't wait to be." There's little kids going to bed right now because it's 9 o'clock. Going, I can't wait to be an arborist. Like,
I can't wait to wear the little hat.
Yeah.
I'm just like, there is dealing with a stump is tree care. If I see a big stump on a job, I'm like, yeah, call some stump guy. I just
Well,
did that on now, mind you, I didn't get the job. Maybe that's why. This stump, man, it was like a 6 foot stump.
but
The
a
guy's like,
stump's
yeah,
not a tree.
it's part of a tree. It's an old tree. That's why I said alive or dead, it's tree care.
I think you need an excavator because a tree care guy couldn't remove a stump that's 6 feet.
They grind it, man. They got to get the grinder back there and they got to grind. Get a good grind on.
Mm.
I
Yeah, I don't
rented
know.
it. I think I rented a grinder once. I don't know what I was doing with it. That might
I
have been
feel
the
like
job where I forgot about the retaining wall. Oh shit. I just vaporized $6,000. Fuck.
I've never ground a stump, but I feel like that's a job that can get away from you pretty quickly. Like I feel like
Yeah.
there's
Have you?
some
I
grinding
almost got sucked into a chipper once.
Sucked in. Oof.
Yeah.
sucked into buying one or sucked into
No,
like
sucked into it. Like fucking pulled into the chipper.
oh
I
That
was like
would be
halfway in the
rough.
I was like halfway in, and I was like, "Oh my god, sit the brake!"
How does
And
that happen? Do you get stuck in the branches
we
or
were like
something?
loading these, like it was like a 1 foot chipper, one of those huge ones. This is why I don't do tree care. See, chipping is tree care. That's not fucking landscaping. And I was feeding we're feeding like a huge spruce tree in, and I got all caught up in the branches, and I started getting, even as fat as I am, I was getting sucked into the fucking. I was, there's like the brake thing on it, and I was like, oh my
Yeah.
god! But the other guy on the other side couldn't see me because the tree was so big we were stuffing in. It
He
was
was
like
probably like, I'm not a tree care guy. I can't
he didn't
help.
like me. Well, he
I'm
also
a
didn't like.
landscaper. What are you talking about?
He also didn't like me very
They,
much. That guy.
they said someone called the paramedics, and at that point they need a mortician. So nobody wants to do anybody else's job.
So God, I'm just saying. I define it's. I don't deal with. I don't like stumps. I don't deal with them. I just feel like there's no money in stumps. You go to a job and you walk in the backyard and you see a huge fucking stump, you know you're losing money on that bitch.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you charge. You could look at that stump and be like, "That's 6 foot stump." I looked at that and I was like, if I charge 5 grand to get rid of the stump, I am not going to make a dime. Because
Yeah.
if I charge five, I should have charged 10. If I charge 500, I should have charged 1,000. There is no way to properly price stump removal as a landscaper. That's why you
We
call it tree, motherfucker, and pass the responsibility on.
we did that once last year and ended up cracking a septic
Exactly.
during the removal.
This is why.
So we were all done the job. Everything looks great. I get a call the next day. My lawn is leaking sewage.
Oh man.
Motherfucker. Um, so we sent another company back and they did like a half-hour repair and he never built. Ah, fuck, I was supposed to email him back. Um, yeah, he got the job done. We were
What's the
fortunate.
worst day? Is that the worst day after phone call you've ever had?
I'd have to think about
This is
that.
an interesting
Uh,
topic. I like
uh,
this topic.
the worst day after phone
Worst
call.
day after phone call.
No, I'm sure there's something worse, but that one wasn't great, especially considering it was at the very end of the season and there was snow. I'm like, how
Ooh,
the fuck are we gonna get this done and this not be on my conscience for the entire winter? Um, it thought out enough that day that they could fix it, but I don't know what you guys must have a good.
oh, oh, yeah. So we did this. We did this job once, and it's in Toronto, and it was right after. Um, it was right after Toronto created the bylaw where you couldn't exit water into the sewers anymore. So everyone had to cap off all their drains. So like the eavesdrops used to run down into the pipes, and then the pipes would take the eavesdrop water to the sewer. They made it illegal. Everyone had to turn their eavesdrops out and cap the pipes, right? So we're doing this. This is like old school Toronto, like Danforth. So we're doing this set of stairs. And first of all, these are like, I can't remember what we called these stairs. These stairs were built and torn down, I think, 4 times. They were like the stairs from hell. It didn't matter. Like it just, one guy, because we're using like we're using, the homeowner had bought all the materials, which immediately, this is why this job went bad. But one of the materials he had bought was Best Waste Park Wall, which we had never used before. It's similar to like a Pisa wall or an Oak Sortana or an RB wall. But it has a different set of grooves. And the first guy that attempted to build the stairs put all the wall in upside down because he didn't understand how it worked. The second guy, I don't know. Anyways, the stairs were built 3 times. And eventually I said, on the third, after we tore them down twice, I sent down these 2 guys and I said, build these fucking stairs. Because I had envisioned, because they were going against a wood porch. So I had envisioned us just stacking the blocks on top of each other backwards not necessarily building a box because there's no way and then gluing it all together as one big unit. Because of course, I also didn't pick out this material for this job, right? So I told them my vision. They said, okay. So they went there, tore the stairs apart. And when they put them up, they found a pipe in the ground that they assumed was for an eaves trough that had maybe run under the deck down into this pipe. So they mortared it shut. They closed it off. They built the stairs over it. Everyone loves the stairs. Stairs look perfect. Totally fantastic. Finally, we're done the stairs from hell. It only took us 3 tries as professional landscapers to build these fucking stairs. And then the next day I got a phone call. Hey, Mike. I said, hey, Ollie, because the guy's name was Ollie. And it was not a double Ollie situation. It was a single Ollie situation. And he says, Mike. And I say, yeah. He goes, I'm pretty sure that your guys capped my plumbing vent. And my plumbing is no longer venting. And my basement is completely flooded, like 2 feet.
Man.
Oh, that's a bad day after a call.
And I was like, okay. So I went there. He had pumped it all out, but he had laminate floor in the basement, which was destroyed.
Oh.
So the guys who had built the stairs were subcontractors. I called them. I said, hey, man, did you build over this guy's pipe? They were like, we thought it was from the eaves trough. And I was like, okay, well. So I said to Ollie, who was a great guy, what do you want me to do? You tell me. We just fucked your house. I am used to situations where I fuck someone's backyard, and I understand how to fix that because, hey, no one's perfect. I've fucked up shit in people's backyards. I've fucked up people's front yards. I've fucked up people's driveways. I've fucked up their front lawns. In general, I don't fuck up their basement. Indoors. So he said, what if you guys replace the flooring? So me and the 2 sub guys ripped out and replaced the guy's entire floor.
Wow.
On a Saturday. Yeah.
Wow.
It was Ollie. He was a good guy, man. Love that guy.
I said, best I can do is put brick down there. You're getting a brick floor.
Getting a brick fucking floor. So we destroyed a man's basement.
Oh man.
See, it just goes back to landscapers have to know everything. How the fuck would you know necessarily that that's his plumbing vent?
Plumbing vent was buried under his stairs to his porch.
Yeah. That could happen to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
It happened to me. Yeah. Thousands of other things. That one happened to me. Yeah. Yeah. I can't think of the other stuff we smashed or broke when we didn't know what it was or buried.
One time a client had a lockbox on their gate or on their old railing. Coincidentally, this is the job that we repaired 9 years later for free. But they had a wrought iron railing that we had to take off to do the overlay. And one of the guys took it was garbage day. They took the railing and put it at the road, right? Garbage day. They come pick up the railing with the lockbox on it. And the client comes over, I can't get in the house. The key is in the lockbox. What happened to the lockbox? I don't know. I don't know. Someone must have walked off with it. They thought it was scrap metal.
That reminds me of a story that came up recently where I was talking to Drake about it at the dump. So someone in their infinite wisdom had thrown all the chains from the float in the back of the 1-ton dump truck instead of into the chain box on the float. And then people loaded a garbage deck on top of the chains in the back of the truck and then sent the truck to the dump. So the driver of the truck folded down the tailgate and dumped out deck. and inadvertently dumped $2,000 worth of chains and bear traps at the dump as well. This is at like Miller, like a transfer station, a disgusting, gross transfer station. This is back in the day. I sent those motherfuckers back and they dug through that shit till they found those fucking chains.
Oh,
Yeah.
That was back in the day when I was not a nice person. I was like, where the fuck are all the chains? They're like, I put them in the truck. The truck we just dumped in the garbage dump? Yeah, go the fuck back now. And do what? I said, I don't know. Find the fucking chains. Hope they're not in the fucking one of those trucks from the food place that dumps out all that shit. Hope they're not covered in that. That's just fucking gross. And they found the chain.
Wow.
They found them. And then I think they got in trouble because you're not allowed to pick garbage out of the fucking
Yeah.
We have broken and smashed like so much that we didn't fucking. 2 years ago, Chrissy backed into some driveway and the guy kept waving her back farther and farther and farther. And when she dumped, you know how the tailgate flies open? It flied open and lift the carport roof right off the fucking house.
So who pays for that? He backed you in.
I paid for it.
Wow.
I sent my general contract. I just called my general contractor buddy. I'm like, can you go look at this and see how fucked it is? So we paid for it. We paid for that one. It wasn't even. It wasn't even a lot. I think Paul charged me like $300 to fix it or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was like the fascia was fucked, and he had to nail the. I don't know. He had to nail the roof back onto the post or something. I just told him. I said, I don't. I've done enough damage here. I don't want anything else to do with it. Just send me a bill. I don't want to talk about it again. I don't want to hear about it again. I don't want to ever know anything about this again. Just send me a fucking bill. I play hockey with him. I had him like, I had like 3 things like that in 1 year. I just called him and I was like, fix it. I don't want to know anything about it. I'm done. I've done enough damage here today. I'm good.
That's the best answer sometimes too. As a business owner, just let it go. Just pay it.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Tell me what, don't even tell me what, just go ahead. Just
just do it.
It is what it is. Just
do it.
I can't
lose more money thinking about it.
What's your worst day after call, Mike?
I don't have anything to top what you talked about there. The only thing that comes to mind is my very first project. I had a low spot in the patio and the client didn't like the cuts that I did around their fire pit. So when I sent them the bill, they said, I'm not going to pay it until you come back and fix these 2 things. And the cuts around the fire pit were actually what he wanted initially, and then he changed his mind afterwards. So, yeah.
How do you why would the client have any say on the cuts?
I have no idea, but he was very particular and he wanted them a certain way. I did them a certain way. And then he went back and said, no, I don't like it this way. Yeah.
Did he pay you?
He ended up paying me. It took a bit, but he ended up paying me. He was a carpenter by trade. He's like, I know how these things work. And
I know how these things work.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Perfect. You seem like a client that I want.
That was a good experience. The first patio I did on my own to get that under my belt.
How did you feel when you sold the first job? Scared or excited?
Because I did a lot of side projects, it wasn't I would say like my first job that I did on my own where I hired a buddy while I was working for a supplier was really interesting and I was pretty excited. And then I realized maybe I priced it too low. And then I realized, well, I'll still be making more money in 2 days than I make at my supplier over 6 days. So you know what? It's probably good.
Did you do it with you got your buddy to do it?
Yeah, me and my buddy. And then they wanted their backyard done, like just this simple patio. And I quoted them the exact same price. And they're like, is everything that much? And then their neighbor asked me to quote their walkway. And I quoted them the exact same price while they were there. And they're like, everything's the same price.
Doesn't matter what it is. It's all the same price.
Yeah. Yeah. That's when I didn't know my numbers.
That was pre-software.
That was pre-software. That was pre-spreadsheet. That was pre my business and everything.
It was just me rolling the dice that I could do anything for $5,000.
Yeah.
I could make anything happen for $5,600. Doesn't matter what it is. You need a
Yeah.
roof? I can
Wasn't
put
that
a
your
roof on.
$5,600? Wasn't that your price for a 120 square foot walkway?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was. Well, it was
make it
actually
happen.
100 square feet. I bid it as
Oh yeah,
120 because
yeah,
of all the cutting and potential extra 4 inches in the length of the patio.
yeah.
It was actually 94.5.
Hmm.
Is that a go?
I
Is that done?
No.
No.
Has it happened yet?
No,
Yeah.
because we lost that job. We
Oh
had it,
no.
but we
Ah,
lost it. I know. It's just my whole life.
so-
Somebody underbid you.
No, they
They listened to the podcast and went out and found that client and said, "We'll do it for 5,599."
I told you it was a bad idea.
no.
Yeah.
They forgot that they had a fencer coming in
Oh,
and they needed to pay him. Which
Oh,
sounds I'm like at first I was like, who the fuck forgets they hired a fencing guy? And then I thought, well, in today's world that could probably happen. They just forgot that they
yeah.
hired a fencing guy. So I don't know. Or maybe someone was like astronomically cheaper than me. I have no.
maybe the fencing guy is doing the landscape
Yeah.
now.
The fencing guy realized it was better to be the landscaper than it was to be the fencing guy. I don't know. Yeah, we got they did say that they're still going to do the project, they're just putting it on hold. So that's better than the last people who just indiscriminately said, get the fuck, why did you locate our property? We don't fucking want you here. 2 days before we were supposed to start.
No way.
Well, that happened the other week. Yeah.
What
That
about the
was,
Pietra job? Is that started?
that also got canceled. But that was, so we were going to do the Petra job. And I thought, Drake was hanging around the yard doing something else. And I was at the yard and I said, you know what? This Petra job is the kind of thing that could go really bad, really fast. And then you don't end up having enough money in it as much as it seems like you could not possibly not have enough money in it. So I said, let's go to the owner's house, a really nice couple, Chuck and Brenda. That's as specific as we'll get, no last names, because Mike's nervous about exposing things on the podcast. And we went, and Chuck was home. Brenda was in Florida. And so we met him, and he determined that the Petra curb might not work. And I said, well, maybe if you just fill where this water's flowing with rocks and then water. And so he said, yeah, I'm going to think about that. So then he called me and he said, hey, man, your idea works so well. I don't need you to do the Petra curb job
Wow.
anymore. And I said, fuck. But then
Wow.
so there was two, like this job we did like 12 years ago. And the only part of it that settled was right around the two drains. There was like two pavers at one and one paver at the other one or something. And so he said, but could you still send Drake back here to fix these pavers around the drains? And I was like, sure, man. I was like, man, we really killed this job. It was a fucking pretty good job. And just for our big mouse of using River Rock, we shot ourselves in the foot and we don't have the job anymore.
Are you doing the repair for free?
No, he paid us for it.
Okay, I was gonna
He
say.
paid us for it.
Hmm.
Well, it's 12 years. I had a 9-year limit.
Yeah.
I think I actually brought that up. He was like, and I was like, oh, this was 12 years ago, man. Like, it's a 9-year limit at Chad's discretion.
Yeah.
And he says I don't have to fix this. So we're all good. Yeah.
Do you feel like if you would have taken deposits from these clients, they wouldn't have backed out?
Maybe.
At least you would have had something, right?
Yeah, I don't, but then it's like, so say I took a deposit from the first job that backed out. I think that job was like, say, close to 20 grand. If I took a 10%, I don't know what, I don't take deposits, so I don't know what people take. But
No,
let's
no,
say
I don't either, but
Well, no, that's why I'm breaking.
playing
I'm just,
devil's advocate,
yeah. And
if
so
you were to,
yeah, I'm interested in, what do people take? 10%? Mike, you take deposits. What do
I
you take?
take 10% to get in the schedule, 25% upon first day.
Okay. So Mike takes, so I take 10%.
when
This
do you
is
get
how
cost of materials? Like,
What's that?
when do you get cost of materials? Why should,
That covers materials.
okay. Always?
35%. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
okay. So this job was 20 grand, or give or take. They give me $2,000 as a deposit. And then they cancel their job and they're going to come at me for their $2,000. And everyone listening to this podcast is going to say, you shouldn't return the $2,000 because it's a non-refundable deposit. And that $2,000 is yours now. And what I'm going to say is, I don't have time in my life to fight with these stupid fucking people about 2,000
Yeah.
bucks. And I'm going to
Yeah.
return it to them anyways. So what was the point of the fucking, like, that's why I don't take the deposit, because if I took a deposit of 10% and someone canceled the job, I would just give it back to them anyways and say, get the fuck out of my life.
Yeah.
I am never going to war for a deposit on a job. I will always just return it and be like, get the fuck out of my life. I never want to see you again. Because
Yeah.
people who do that to me, I don't have time in the day for them anyways. Get the fuck out of my life. So if I'm never going to fight for the deposit to keep the deposit, why the fuck take the deposit?
If they came back to you at a later date and wanted the project done, would you take them back? Or is that a red flag for you to be like, no, I never want
This
these
year?
people?
Oh yeah, I'd sign a picture curve. We're going. Fucking going, mother. It depends how it got left. Like one time someone backed out on a job on me and they said, like, hey man, my furnace just blew up. I have to fix it. The money I was going to use for my patio, I got to put into the furnace. I still want to do this fucking job. Can you do it next year? Maybe I'll call you in the spring. I said, sure, man. You need to heat your house. That seems pretty reasonable to me. I would want heat in my house. I don't want to see your kids freeze. Call me in the spring. And I think those people did call me like 2 years later, and I repriced the job and did it for them because I felt like that was left on pretty
Yeah.
good terms and they
Yeah.
had a reasonable reason for not needing. I mean, I don't want to see someone freeze. And that's, again, if I'd taken a deposit, then I would have fucking returned it anyways.
What if
So,
they forgot
when
they
you
had?
take the deposit, Mike, because Chad doesn't take a deposit, probably for the same reason I don't, because she's not going to go to war with some stupid fucking people over $1,500.
I'll explain my reasoning
Okay,
after.
I'm
It's
wise.
it's different, but I mean, it's along the same lines.
What if
Anyway.
it's a special product that you cannot return?
I wouldn't use that material.
No.
Not there was a time in my life when I would have used some weird material to look really cool on Instagram. Now I just use whatever's like. If someone called me with some super special material, I'd be like, fuck off, call someone else.
If someone wanted so I've done this before. We were supposed to do a project with those big, do you guys know Rosetta Stone at all? Like,
Yeah.
it's so these big slab steps or whatever. It was like 5 or 10 grand in steps, and he's like, yeah, go ahead, we're gonna do the job. I ended up ordering all the material. A couple weeks later, the guy cancels the job. Well, the steps are sitting at the fucking retailers, and I own them now. And I've still got them if anybody wants Rosetta steps that are 2 years or 3 years weathered. At this point, I'll give you a wicked deal. But I mean, so
Can you post that pictures of those steps on the Not Our Finest Hour account, and
I'll get the retailers to send me pictures of them. They're probably rotting somewhere in the back 40 of that landscape yard.
Is that the giveaway?
Yeah.
giveaway.
Oh,
Not Our Finest Hour giveaway.
Not Our Finest Hour Rosetta step giveaway.
I will supply the steps. Mike, you have to supply the shipping.
Oh, I'll supply. That's fine.
You have to pick them up in Cornwall.
If we're going to do this giveaway of these Rosetta steps, then yeah, I will supply the shipping. How many steps is it?
Oh, yeah, if you want 10, I probably have 10.
I will send Darian for these 10 steps to someone. Yeah,
if he has
I'll
nothing better
supply the
to do.
shipping.
This
Yeah,
is great.
this is a real
That's
contest. This is a great contest. Some
so,
old 2-year-old steps that Chad can't stop. Anyways, what was the conclusion of this before we got totally off track?
so I wouldn't take someone's money or someone's deposit like without ordering materials or anything like that. Um, I feel like if they were to cancel the job, even if they're aware that they've given a non-refundable deposit, they're still going to talk shit about how the landscaper didn't give them their deposit back, and that bad publicity is bad enough to not take the deposit in the first place, right? People are still going to talk, oh, that landscaper owes me this, like he fucked me on this, when you really didn't do anything wrong, but you're always going to be made out to be the bad guy in that situation.
Yes, you're definitely in the right.
Yeah,
If you have a non-refundable deposit and you keep it, you are in the right.
absolutely, but they
But
don't see it that way, right?
I,
Or they won't
yeah,
talk about it that way.
no,
Yeah,
absolutely, you're 100% right.
so that's why we don't take deposits unless
Uh,
like if somebody asks us to do a job for them and it's special material, I'm going to take the deposit and buy the material with it. If they cancel the job, I say, well, this is your material now. Do you want it stacked on your front yard or in the driveway or what?
Right.
But like, this is
you want us
not
to
my
give it away
problem
on the
anymore.
podcast?
No, because I own that material. I paid for that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah.
So, Mike, do you keep the deposit if they cancel the job?
I would not keep it. But if it is a special order item, I would let them know that clearly, that if they, for whatever reason, something came up, they had to cancel the project, that I would not be able to get like a refund for it. So the material just belongs to them. And that's what the
Yeah,
deposit would be for.
yeah.
And I've
But
done
you,
that with all special order items. But
if
yeah,
you have a job that has no special order items and you take a deposit that you'd be willing to give back to them anyways, what was the point?
for them to have some sort of buy-in to the project, I guess. For them to be like, I also feel like if I take 10% for them to get into the schedule, I'm in control of where and when I'll start the project. Whereas if I've got no buy-in from them, I feel like they have more power to dictate when and where the project's going to start. Even though that's never happened to me, but I just don't like me being the only person bought into their project.
So I believe the opposite.
Really?
One of the reasons I don't take a deposit is because then I can do their project whenever the fuck I feel like it.
Mm.
Because I don't, you have nothing invested in it. I have everything invested in it. And I've said that to lots of homeowners in my life.
Hmm.
I don't take a deposit. I'll give you a generalized time of when I might do this project, but don't call me and try to hold me to some day or some week or some month because all the money is invested with me. You have nothing invested in it. I'll do it when I want, not when you want.
I can see that for sure.
I agree with your point too, though. I agree with your side too. I think it's a two-sided coin.
Yeah, I
It's a,
never considered what you just said there. Um, yeah, I just don't like the idea of me having everything invested into the project and the client having nothing.
see, I love that
At what
idea.
point? At what point do you get paid though? Right.
When you're done the project.
So you will do like a multi-month project and wait till the very end to get paid?
I have, yeah. I wouldn't do
Really?
that now. I don't do it anymore, but I have. Oh, we've done. But see, like when I ran the residential division at Ridge Lake, you have to put it in perspective. We did a job in 30 days where we invoiced $1.4 million. And then we waited 60 days to get paid. So you take like back then, the biggest residential project we had going on was maybe like 80, 90 grand. It was an infinitely small amount of money to the owner of that business that he didn't give a fuck about.
Right.
So I had brought up doing payment systems, and he was like, "Why the fuck would I do that for $90,000? That's a huge pain in the ass. I don't want to do multiple invoices. Fuck that. They can pay us when we're done." And that was his take on the situation because it was like to him, it was an infinitely small amount of money. Why would we even worry about it?
The amount of risk though, yeah, I can see if you get to a point where you're so large that like a $90,000 is a drop in the bucket, but there's just so much risk for you to have something go wrong on the project, or the client refuses to pay at the end of the project, where if you leave 10, 15, 20% to the end of the project, and I know you guys know this, you don't need me to talk about it, but that's just like infinitely less risk leaving that much to the end as opposed to 100% at the end and they refuse to pay, right?
I think he was never, like him in particular, was never worried about that because he had so much more money than the people we were working for. He would just sue them into oblivion if they didn't pay.
Right, right. But
So it's a
nowadays, you
different
wouldn't do that
perspective.
with your business, right? You wouldn't
No,
leave
I
100% to the end.
well, when we first started this business, we used to do that.
Yeah.
I closed a lot of jobs on it. Like, when your business has no jobs closed, like even though I have a long history of doing landscaping work, we had we had no work of our own we had actually done.
Mm-hmm.
I closed jobs because I said to people, you can pay me when you're happy.
Right. So if I do a job that's under 3,000, I will leave it all to the end because that doesn't even make sense to do any sort of draw payment or anything like that.
Yeah, we just did a driveway and walkway. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. It was 12 grand. We didn't do any payment system on it.
Yeah. I'm doing like a front walkway. I still took my 10%, but I'm leaving 90% at the end. So, yeah.
It doesn't, I agree. It doesn't, well, for you, a $3,000 walkway is like 6 hours. Well, a $4,400 walkway was 10,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm breaking it down.
3,000 is a very small front walkway lift and relay, essentially.
Yeah. So it's maybe 4 hours.
Usually it's about 6, I would say.
So okay. So I was accurate.
Yeah.
We never, I don't know. Kelly has a whole system now, but a lot of it wasn't based on me not worry us worrying about people paying us. It was more based on cash flow issues when we have like a subcontractor doing a job for us that needs to get paid every week.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, I don't want to take that money from another spot. Like, if you have a subcontractor doing a residential job for you, like most of those people are going to expect to get paid weekly. Right. So we would want to collect a draw so that we could just pay the subcontractor.
But that would be the same thing as if they were your employees too, right? They get paid bi-weekly.
But they're supplying equipment and
right.
The bill, I'm not like, if you have a subcontractor coming with their truck, a skid steer, an excavator, 3 or 4 employees, like that's a bigger draw on your company than the people that you had already budgeted. Because the other thing is your company swells from, last year, say we were running 13, 14 people, then all of a sudden we're running 22 people. Right? Like, well, our cash flow is based on 15, not 22. Right. So the money for those extra 7 needs to come from that. That's how we started the draw system. Because that was like we needed to pay those subcontractors need to get paid. Like they're taking time out of their schedules to help us. We need to pay them immediately. They shouldn't have to wait.
Gotcha. Wish my GC thought like that.
Well, but this is like residential GC, right? That's different.
Yeah.
I agree. I wish everyone saw it like that. But it's just, that's how we did it originally.
Like, I pay my subs a lot quicker than I get paid as a sub. For sure.
Yeah, my original accountant, bookkeeper guy, me and him got into it because I was like, you need to pay that irrigation dude. And he was like, no, everyone invoices on the 15th and then we pay them on the 30th. And I'm like, okay, great. Pay the irrigation dude. He's like, no, he invoiced on the 16th, so he won't get paid until the 15th of next month. You get paid on the 30th, he has to invoice before the 15th. And I said, fucking awesome. Pay the fucking irrigation dude.
Yeah.
I have his money. I collected it. Pay him. No, he invoiced on the 16th, so I pay him on the 15th of next month. I said, no, pay the fucking irrigation dude now. He was like, no, you don't understand how it works. I said, you don't understand how it works. That's that guy's fucking money and he's got to feed his fucking kids. And it's the start of the goddamn season. Pay him the fucking money right fucking now. I'm not screwing around with you. And the guy went, oh, I'll pay him. I said, I guess you'll pay him. Like,
yes.
Like, I
Yeah.
understand he was trying to build a system where our subcontractors got used to, you invoice on the 14th, you'll get paid on the 30th. Like from the, say from the 1st to the 14th, you'll get paid on the 30th of the month. You invoice from the 16th to the 29th of the month, you'll get paid on the 15th. I understand he was trying to introduce a system, but, I know that that's a great system and I understand, but I'm not getting like, this guy needs to fucking make his truck payment and we have his money. Pay
Yeah.
him. We are not CP Rail. Like,
Yeah.
we're not IBM. These are people with families that are working for themselves that have one fucking pickup truck. That system works fucking great if you're Rogers or
Right.
Bell or whatever. But we're not those things. These are people who like,
He doesn't do anything for building relationships for sure.
it's fuck
Chad.
all. It pisses people off.
Yeah.
Like, it's a it's a fucking piss off. Like, it just, so anyways, we try to pay people as fast as we get paid or faster than we get paid. But that's why people will come help us too.
Yeah.
I guarantee your subs will jump to come help you because they know they're going to get paid right away.
Yeah. They definitely get paid before I do. That's for sure. Like I'm
But that's
reaching in, I'm dipping into my own pocket to pay the subs.
but that's why they'll, when you call them and say, "Hey man, I'm fucked. The septic's leaking through the front lawn," they say, "No problem,
Yeah.
Chad. We're on it tomorrow morning for you." And they leave what they're
Yeah.
doing and they go fix it.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
And that's
that's
yeah.
that's the power that respecting people's time and paying them brings you.
Yeah.
Chad, what percentage do you leave to the end on a residential project?
Uh it's been a while. I take cost of materials and then the rest I'll take on at the end of a
Okay.
job. So whatever that ends up to be. Um Honestly, we don't have that much residential work. So yeah, I just take cost of materials, pay the retailer, and then see you when we see you, finish when we finish, and you pay the rest
What's
then.
what's the biggest residential job you take on nowadays though? They're all like small, right?
Last year we did probably, I
You
want
did
to
that
say
Roca
100.
step project that was pretty big,
Yeah,
right?
that's probably like 150, 200, maybe more, maybe 250 or something. Um, but that was all T&M, right? So
Hmm.
I just invoice weekly or every 2 weeks or whatever, and then we'd wait a month and got paid a month later for every invoice. Um, and I can't see doing that job any other way with the amount of changes that go on and working so far from home. Um, we didn't get rich, but I mean, sometimes it's just nice to have that work, or you can leave for a day and then come back and
Sometimes
really
it's
for a
okay to
couple.
hit a
Yeah,
single.
yeah, it's
You can't hit a home. You try to hit a home run on every job, you're going to strike out a lot.
yeah, yeah.
Like, it's
And
not,
he's a phenomenal client, so I don't
but
mind with
I'm
it.
saying like on average, residential jobs you take on right now because you have so much commercial work. You're talking a couple days, 3 days. Like,
Yeah, like I
you're not looking for this monster project to.
no, we gave up a big one actually by not responding to emails. Like this lady wanted a pool and a whole front and back landscape, but her house was only built, I want to say not even a year ago. So that always turns me off because they hate when you explain that, well, their whole house is backfilled with native material and you need to be backfilled with clear material. Um, and they look at you like your head screwed on sideways. And what do you mean you want? I just backfilled this house. Why do you want to dig out my whole house? And then what do you mean you're not going to warranty it? Um, but anyway, that's beside the point. We passed up a big one to some company that's sort of making me nervous. They're like an hour away or whatever, and they do a lot of the same stuff that we do, and they're pretty polished image wise and stuff like that. So, and we're working not far from them, so I'm like, really burns my arse a little bit to see them doing the job that we could have had if we would have kept our foot on the gas. But honestly, we're so busy with other shit that what does it matter?
But did you even want to do that work?
Uh, it would have been an okay job if the house wasn't so new, right? If it wasn't less than a year old.
But
because
even if the house was like 5 years old, it's not the work you want to do anymore.
no, you're right. But you have to do something to fill the voids in the
Yeah,
commercial landscape schedule, right? Um,
that's true.
because for months there's nothing ready, and then all of a sudden three things are ready at the same time, and that's $500,000 of work that you have to do in a month,
Yeah.
right? So you need these little things like these 20 or $30,000 jobs in there that you can sneak in and do in a week, and then sneak out back to commercial. You got to be sneaky with it.
You got to be strategic, Jeff.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And sometimes you'll piss people off that way, right? Because you figure, yeah, I can get in and do that job, and then all of a sudden they don't hear you from a month. And you said you could do it, but you can't do it now right away. So you're putting a half crew on it, and then it's not going as fast. And like, it's a juggling act. It's great, but it's a juggling act sometimes. Just looking
That's
at
what
the
you
board.
should. That's what this episode should be called. It's a juggling act.
I think the beginning of this episode was absolute dog shit,
Cut
but I
it.
think we turned it around probably
Yeah.
an
I
hour in.
I feel like it wasn't. I feel like it was entertaining. I
People
feel
are
like
going to
it's what
be people are going to be
people.
curious of what we cut. What are those beeps that PK was saying something? I know it's good.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to beep out the communism hat.
No, that's good. That stays.
The communism. All right. So is this the end of the episode?
That's it.
This is the end of the episode. Boom. Later.